Hello. I come to you from what's this? Day 4 of quarantine after I and my entire family came down with COVID. This is amazingly because I use public transportation to commute and I have a retail job. This is actually the first time I've at least tested positive for this damn thing. So we all are stuck at home. My wife has been kind enough to take our daughter out, on a walk away from other human beings, so I can have 15 minutes free to record this little video. And yeah, this sucks. I'm still a little sniffly. I'm okay. Like it just feels like a bad flu. It put me down for about a day. I'm still a little sniffly, but I'm pretty well on the mend. What I really want is certainly not any of the usual high proof monsters I usually enjoy. What I really want is like a good highball. Honestly, I want a long drink. I would love to have a Wray and Ting. Wray and Ting, arguably the greatest highball ever made, composed of Wray and Nephew Overproof rum from Jamaica, and Ting, which is a grapefruit soda from Jamaica. Now, I've never bothered to stock up on Ting before because I have a grocery store, a very small grocery store right down the street that sells bottles of this stuff. So I figured, why have it on the occasion when I'm craving a nice long drink, I can just go run down there, right? Never occurring to me that, I'd have to quarantine and I couldn't actually go into a grocery store at any point. So I tried to Instacart myself some Ting to enjoy my little long drink with. And Instacart, as you may well know, has kind of liberally tends to replace stuff. So what I got when I asked for Ting and the store didn't have it was a jug of Squirt, which is also it's not a wrong replacement. Squirt is also a grapefruit soda, but it's very different in quality. I was experimenting with Squirt last night to see if I can make a decent long drink with it, and it's more challenging. But nevertheless, we're gonna try to see if we can do something, make something Wray and Ting like in the course of this video. In the course of experimenting with this, kind of towards the end of the night, this was like constantly interrupted by our toddler, by the way. I did notice there were some other options out there. The main one being this stuff, which is at the local Trader Joe's. This is via Italia, Italian grapefruit soda. Pretty much available. If you got a Trader Joe's nearby, you can buy this. And it occurred to me, after I spotted this, it occurred to me I could actually make a video out of this because I'm sure Ting is awesome. There are lots of people out there who can't get Ting. So even if Squirt is not an adequate replacement, maybe something else that is around in my house is. So, this seemed like a useful way to answer that question. So we shall see if the final hope here, the Via Italia, will be adequate to making a decent Wray and Ting substitute. But there is another, as Yoda says, and it is right here. Fever Tree, pink grapefruit, sparkling. Don't know what sparkling Fever Tree is what this is. So they advertise very prominently. This is 30 calories a bottle, so this is for the health people. Hand-picked pink grapefruits from Florida. I bought this on a whim because it was on sale during the holidays, and I haven't really touched it since. But we're gonna see if it's worthy. Have it alongside these others. So, a Wray and Ting, you would never really, in a real context, measure your Wray and Ting, right? It's delicious rum. It's delicious soda in a glass over ice. But as this is an experiment, we're going to do proper measurements. We're going to do basically 1 to 3 of delicious Wray to these substitutes. I should confess, by the way, that I admire the art of like complex cocktail making. I really do. But on the occasion when I am not wanting to drink something, you know, neat or just with a splash of water in it, I don't usually go for cocktails. Or full blown cocktails. I go for long drinks. I go for I admire the brutal simplicity of just pouring a thing in a glass with another thing with some ice, because there's really nothing to tinker with. There's nothing to hide from. This is very difficult to pour because, as you can see, the bottle is squeezing a little bit. But I'm going to see if I can get 1.5 ounces of Squirt in my shot glass here. I don't really have jiggers. I never invested in them. But hopefully that'll do. So that's my Squirt. I'm not gonna bother rinsing. That just is too much work. I should take the top off my grapefruit soda here. All right, Villa Italia. This should be fun. So Trader Joe's also sells a blood orange one, which my wife likes much more. So it ran out on the fridge shelf much more quickly than this. This is kind of the last resort of delicious Trader Joe's soda. And let's do the Fever Tree. A little bit of that. That is very pink. It's like electric pink. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I should probably try these individually just to give you some sense. All right. I'm gonna have my water glass. Yeah, let's just use the shot glass, I guess. All right. Trying some Squirt. Ooh, still getting some of the. I'm gonna dump this in my water glass. I was getting a lot of the Fever Tree when I tried that initially. That's better. Now I'm getting Squirt. I mean, kind of blandly American-y acceptable. Citrus soda. If you look really, really hard, you can notice hints that this is grapefruit based. A little bit of bitterness on the back end. But really, if you poured this to someone and told them it was 7-Up, they would have no problem believing you. It's just kind of sugar and fizz and kind of citrusiness. That's about all I'm getting. Not bad, just not much there. Let's try the Via Italia. Nice glass bottle, kind of expensive, but available. Again, if you got a Trader Joe's near you. Much more to it. Much more grapefruity. More acidity. A hair less sugar. Still pretty sweet though. Not as fizzy, but I think that's because I just had the bottle open longer. Yeah, it doesn't. I remember liking Ting better, but this isn't bad. This is actually pretty okay. And last up, I tried one bottle of this a couple months ago, and I remember it being very, very grapefruity and very dry. So let's see how this is. It smells like aggressively grapefruity. Like grapefruit concentrate. It smells a little almost like fake grapefruity, which may not be a bad thing in this context. Let's see. On the palate. Ooh. Much drier than the others. There's things I like and things I don't. So I like the intense grapefruity punch in the mouth that this delivers. It's very dry. I'm kind of into that. I'm worried about how it's going to play with the Wray and nephew, but I'm kind of into that. There is something weird about this. What is that? There's like a minerally. It's not tonic water. What is that? There's a minerally thing going on, which is an off note. It's almost like I It's like a baking powder note. You know when you're like making pancakes or something and get some of that in your hand and you kind of lick it? It's that taste. I'm getting it's lots of grapefruit, very little sugar, and a little bit of baking powder, which is an odd combination, but maybe it'll work. Let's see. Okay, onto my highballs here. These really should have like stacks of ice in them, but for today's purposes, that's just too much work. Let's give these a shot. All right, the Wray and Squirt first. On the nose. It doesn't smell awful. The Wray and Nephew actually seems to bring out the citrusy notes on this. Not distinctively grapefruity citrusy, but you know, it smells like has a nice kind of citrus rind, citrus, you know, character to it. I like it. The nose is okay. Not great. Let's start with that. No, I'm being too unkind to this. It's I've had a lot of cocktails made professionally that are worse than this. I can drink this. This is kind of just inside the borders of serviceable. So you know that's a couple of notches above the other things I've had. But it's very basic. Not a Wray and Ting at all. It's too sweet. There is a little bit of like a sour bitter twist right at the end, but it's not enough. It's not. This is just a little bit cloying. It feels like the Squirt is doing very very little work here. The Wray and Nephew is really providing all the extra character to this. The sort of fun fruity notes going on in here. Again, it's not bad. I could. I mean, especially for quarantine purposes, I could drink this, but yeah, not my first choice. And I poured excess Squirt in my water glass, so I can't cleanse my palate at all. But nevertheless, moving on. All right, let's try entry number 2, the Via Italia Italian grapefruit soda. This is considerably more expensive than the Squirt, so it better be better. All right, on the nose. More closed down, actually. Getting like a little sour raisiny note, actually, of all things. Some minerality, which is kind of in the background of Wray and Ting. That's kind of being brought out by the Italian grapefruit soda here. So sour raisin, minerality, kind of general minerality. And yeah, some very gentle grapefruitiness. Gotta be honest, I like this. I like the nose on the Squirt and Ting, or the Wray and Squirt. I'm sorry, a little bit better. But you know, these are long drinks. The nose doesn't matter all that much. So let's see what it's got on the palate. Much better. There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. Balance. This has more balance than the Wray and Squirt does. So it's still more sweet than a Wray and Ting is. I feel like Ting is just a drier soda than this is. If the Wray and Ting is brighter than this is, as again, I don't have a control. There should be control here. I just can't get one. But this is real good. I like this a lot. You've got your sours balancing off the sweetness. A little bit of a nice bitter twist at the end. It's actually more bitter on the back end than I feel like Wray and traditional Wray and Ting is. So yeah, it's kind of adding a nice little twist of its own. It's certainly not better than a Wray and Ting. But it's not that much worse. It's just that, you know, if you're going to be the champ, you got to knock him out. And this is not a knockout by any means. But it's good. For quarantine purposes, this is the one I want. I want Via Italia, Italian grapefruit soda, and Wray. That's backwards, but whatever. Quite good, quite serviceable. A little too sweet. I would actually bump up. Hold on. I would actually bump up the amount of rum in this to kind of try to counteract the sweetness, or even add a little slab of citrus if you happen to have any around. We just happened to start quarantine without any citrus, and I didn't think of Instacarting any. Yeah, that actually makes it better. I would lean harder into your Wray and Nephew if you were making a, you know, Wray and quasi Ting with this. But very nice. Okay, moving on to the last option. The Fever Tree Pink Grapefruit. Sparkling question mark. On the nose. Fever Tree completely dominates the Wray and Nephew. I'm not getting any Wray and Nephew rummy notes in this at all. But I know I poured some in there, so I don't know what's going on. But what I am getting is that weird, like, baking powder, baking soda note. What the hell is that? It makes me think of tonic water, but it's not tonic water. It's its own. I don't know. It's a strange creature. This. All right, but on the palate, on the nose again, it just smells the same as this. That's what I'm getting. On the palate. Ooh. The front end is fine. It's all grapefruit. It's all grapefruit. Like, you know, I'm just taking a shot of grapefruit juice. But it's fine. It's the back end where things get weird. So I'm getting a little bit of the Wray and Nephew kind of light, funky fruitiness. And then this kind of minerally weird baking powder bitterness kind of closes in and starts fighting with that, and it's very weird and I don't like it. Oh, I like the sour notes. This actually doesn't feel sweet enough. I would add. I mean, this is a problem created by people who are terrified of both, you know, sugar and calories, and also artificial sweeteners. You know, people who just hate joy in life, I guess. I'm going to see if adding a little more Wray and Nephew solves these problems. Still does nothing on the nose, the extra little dab of Wray. Ah, that actually made it worse. Oh, God. That's terrible. Oh. That is terrible. Let me confirm that one more time. Yeah, that's just, oh. Oh. Let me try to describe this. The mean side of Jamaican rum meets chewing on a grapefruit pith meets you're dumping a bunch of baking powder into your mouth. That's what I'm getting. Oh, God. Or like, you know, one of those... imagine you're doing like little science class experiment with volcano and the baking soda. Imagine you're doing that, except instead of using like vinegar, set off your volcano, you're going to use some grapefruit juice and some rum. That's what I'm getting. Oh, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. Yeah, that ain't great. I could, huh. Okay, let me pick this up again. I could see this working with other things. I could see this working with gins pretty well. You have to find something that's not going to aggravate that weird minerally note, and it's going to be able to play well with the grapefruit. I don't think Wray and Nephew is that. But you know, I'm sure someone else could find something to do with this. I'm gonna, set it aside for now. So what are my winners? By far, Via Italia and Wray and Via Italia is the one to do. Wray and Squirt. If you just want to hammer some refreshing highball goodness down, it's fine. It works. It does the job. Throw in something to offset the extra sugar. It'll work. And in last place is the Fever Tree Sparkling question mark Grapefruit. I did not like this combination at all. Okay, I guess that concludes the video. Ah, God Almighty. Thank you for watching. If you're looking for a substitute for Ting, Via Italia, it still isn't it really, but it's as close as you can get. It's solid. It'll do the job. And I hope to that extent, I hope this was educational. And thanks for watching and cheers.